All right, let's move on to the American League right now. Well, I think two very interesting things have emerged. The Yankees have not been playing well for the last month. They won yesterday against Seattle, but that ended a 5-game losing streak. And they've been playing sub 500 ball for over a month now. Now, they're still on pace to win like 100, 304 games, which every single Yankee fan would have taken. But they have allowed the Astros, and the Astros haven't exactly been playing like world beaters. They're on a 2-game losing streak going into this game against Texas. They've split their last 10 games, but they trail the Yankees by only a single game. The assumption that the Yankees are going to have home field advantage in the American League Championship Series is not accurate. All it will take for the final, I think it's 55 games, 52, whatever it is, the final number of games that they have, the Astros have to play 2 games better than New York, and they will have home field advantage in the ALCS. That's not asking a lot. And the Astros have, the Yankees have had some pitching issues, and they traded away Jordan Montgomery, which has helped St. Louis. Thank you very much. And Frankie Montas has stunk his first outing, which is a red flag because everyone thought, Jeff Weaver and some other people were going to be aces when they got acquired. And Sonny Gray, all these times the Yankees picked up an ace. It doesn't always work out that way. I love Houston's pitching. I love Verlander, Urquidy, Javier, Christian Javier. I love what they're doing with their pitching staff. They've also bolstered their bullpen. Right now, I think the World Series is going to be – I think New York's in the World Series. It's just going to be a Yankee fan nightmare because it's going to be their nemesis, the Astros, and the Mets are the two teams that I think are the teams to beat in the American League and National League playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Astros are in the Yankees' heads mentally. And when you look at that Astros team, like you said, they're stacked with that rotation. Like at the deadline, like they were willing to sell off one of their starting pitchers because they're like, we need more offense in our lineup. And we're like actually 2 stacked in a rotation. We actually have 2 members. So let's go out there and get a bat. They didn't really do that, but they were able to get Christian Vasquez, who's a really good player, of course, from the Boston Red Sox. And you look at the New York Yankees, basically over the last month, their pitching has really taken a step back. They were like a 2.7 ERA in the first half of the season. It's like above a 4 in the second half, and their most expensive dude, Garrett Cole, has really struggled post All-Star break. 3 starts for Garrett Cole, 18 innings pitched, 14 earned runs, 7 ERA flat. He just has not been good post All-Star break. And you got to wonder, is Garrett Cole, slowing down a little bit in the second half? Even last year, if you look at his numbers, he did seem to slow down a little bit in the second half. People attribute it to the sticky stuff crackdown, but maybe he's actually just throwing his arm out in the first half, throwing too much gas, just using too much energy and then just bringing down in the second half. It is something to watch because you remember in that wild card game last year against the Red Sox, Garrett Cole wasn't great in the postseason last year. And so
you didn't get to the third.
Yeah, he didn't get to the third inning. So if you're paying him $35 to $40 million a year, whatever it is for Garrett Cole, whatever crazy money he's making, like you need him to step up. And like you said, Jordan Montgomery's gone too. Domingo Germán has not been good post All-Star break. Jameson.
Well, Germán pitched okay his last game. To be fair, Germán did pitch pretty well his last game. And
I'm just looking at the overall numbers.
I know. Germán pitched okay the last game, but yeah, I mean, this is no longer. This is clearly still a playoff team in New York.
Yeah,
they're not gonna blow up. Yeah, they're not gonna blow a 10-game lead in the loss column to Toronto. Okay. That being said, is this necessarily a team that you would look at as a front runner to win the pennant, or is this going to be a soft 100 wins that they got off to the great start and then they coasted in? Will they be able to turn it back on? I would head to head. I would much rather have Houston, if for no other reason. If you hand the ball to Verlander in Game 7, I would want Verlander. I mean, it's funny. Verlander now is still the best choice in a Game 7, but he really is. He still is.
He's nasty. It's insane how nasty Verlander is at 39, 1.73 ERA. But for the Yankees, like, I think they had a very good deadline, of course, acquiring guys like Benintendi and dudes like that. But maybe the biggest questionable trade of the deadline was that Jordan Montgomery trade to the Cardinals, because it was basically like, it felt like a salary dump. Like, I didn't understand why the Yankees were moving off one of their better pitchers and getting back Harrison Bader, who was like already injured and really not that productive of an offensive player. Like, he can steal bases, but he doesn't really do anything with his bat. So I just didn't understand the Yankees just losing depth in their rotation to really for not really a good reason, and you're not really getting back a quality position player either way that's going in your lineup and making a difference. So I don't know why the Yankees were like, let's get worse in our rotation as we're gearing up for the postseason, because now you're looking at their starters, they're starting to take a step back, and it's like, yeah, I could really use a Jordan Montgomery in my rotation right now.
This American League, the way it's set up, is absolutely primed for a David to take out a Goliath. If you take a look at a team like Toronto, who will probably make the postseason, you could see the Blue Jays getting hot for a couple of weeks. You could see Tampa Bay getting hot for a couple of weeks. I could see, Seattle potentially could be, hey, we got nothing to lose, and find themselves in that position. The true wild card is not the wild card, but actually the American League Central, with all the things going on with the White Sox turned upside down all year long, of people calling for the firing of Tony La Russa, and all the things that have gone wrong with Cleveland this year. As of this recording, Cleveland's 1 game behind Minnesota, and the White Sox are only 3 games back in the loss column out of first place of Minnesota. And Minnesota's playing LA. Minnesota is playing the best team in baseball right now. All it will take is a modest losing streak by Minnesota against Los Angeles, and Cleveland and the White Sox playing well against Detroit and Kansas City, respectively. And we could potentially see a 3-way tie in the American League Central in mid-August. And then that just becomes, then it's no longer about, let's analyze the staff, let's analyze the lineup. Then it's just, let's see how it plays out. And you could, I'll just say one last thing. If a team like Cleveland sneaks in, wins the AL Central, has shrugs and says, no one expected us to be here, with a decent pitching staff that they have, that's the exact type of team that can play David to a Goliath in a postseason series. You look skeptical.
Yeah, we'll see about that, because I like the Chicago White Sox the last couple of years as like my dark horse team out the AL Central, and they just completely crapped the bed both postseasons and just never lived up to any expectation I had of them. So I think whoever comes out the AL Central will probably, you would think they could be a David. You would be like, oh, this team, they could be a sleeper. Maybe they can knock off the Yankees or the Astros. Then they get in the postseason. You're like, yeah, this is why they were in the AL Central fighting for that division lead up until the last day. And I do not want to see a 3-way tie on the last day of the season. I do not need a game 163. What's the point of playing 162 games if you need a 163rd game? Tim Kirchin has told me 162 is the perfect formula for a baseball season. Well, if that's the case, then there should never be a tie on the final game of the season, but that's a different rant for another day. And for the White Sox, I just want to make a quick point. Tim Anderson, it seems like he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. I saw our guy Nash over at Locked On Twins. I think he put out a stat today that basically like the last 3 years when Tim Anderson plays for the White Sox, they're on like a 95 win pace. But when he doesn't play for the White Sox, they're on like a 78 win pace. So the White Sox season might just come down to whether Tim Anderson is playing or not. And with him being out 4 to 6 weeks over this stretch run, like you said, very important, trying to get into the postseason, 2.5 games back of that division lead. Without Tim Anderson there, you might just have to call it a wrap for the White Sox season.
Well, look at you. Look at you. Well,
okay.
Look at I don't have faith. I don't have faith in the Twins in the postseason series. I just think that. I still think Houston's going to win the American League pennant, but I would be intrigued by a Cleveland team with a good pitching staff and nothing to lose.
Can I give you the real sleeper? Can I give you the real sleeper in the American League? I don't think just throw out the Central. I don't even care about that division. Yeah, I don't even care who makes the postseason out that division. I'm never going to watch any of those playoff games because I think
fine.
The Central's meaningless. That's my hot take. But the team that I think is a sleeper is the Seattle Mariners. That's my team after acquiring Luis Castillo. They, of course, have a bunch of players in their lineup that are having kind of down seasons with the Winkers and Suarez's, but I still think they got a bunch of professionals in that lineup. You got the rookie, Julio Rodriguez. You got Ty France, who's been solid. And now Robbie Ray has started to pick it up in the second half. Logan Gilbert's had a good season. You throw in a little Luis Castillo. Their bullpen's been nasty this year. I think their pitching staff from top to bottom has the makeup to be a postseason pitching staff. If you could get a couple of those guys in the lineup to come along for the ride, maybe Winker heats up, maybe a Suarez heats up with the Julio Rodriguez. I like the Mariners as my sleeper team in the American League. If I had to pick someone not named the Astros or the Yankees to maybe take out one of those Goliaths, as you say.
And that would be really interesting because if the Mariners win the pennant, then that would mean every single franchise in baseball will have been to at least one World Series. Because right now, the Mariners remain the only team in Major League Baseball to have never hosted a World Series. So there you go.
Break
all right, well, look at
the World Series. That would be a crazy series.
That would be something else. I do believe there's part of me would just love to see Mets versus the Astros World Series because you know that either Buck Showalter or Dusty Baker will have a World Series ring when all is said and done. Well, look it. All is said and done with you. All is said and done with me. We had another really great session here. Millard Thomas, tell people where they can find you on the interwebs.
Follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24. Follow the show account, Locked On Diamondbacks. Just search it up on Twitter and Instagram. We're on YouTube, of course, Locked On Diamondbacks. And, of course, we're on all your podcasting platforms.
You can find us at Locked On MLB Pods for Twitter and Instagram. And I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast, and Instagram. Looking at the post-trade deadline landscape and seeing, do you know what? We could be in for a little bit of chaos, provided the teams that pushed all their chips to the center of the table and said, let it ride, are seeing it ride away. Not in the good way, as the curse of Eric Hosmer falls upon the city of San Diego. This has been the Locked On MLB, Locked On Diamondbacks crossover. That's Millard Thomas. I'm your pal, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. We're going to fist pump this baby right now.